These are easy to make, and I've found the easiest way to get the labels off a bottle now with the least amount of mess is to fill the bottle up with water from the kettle, and it's quite hot, and then the labels seem to peel off like that, and then all I need to do is go over it with a little bit of alcohol and it will take off the sticky really quickly. It's so much quicker than trying to soak them off. And that's cleaned that up lovely and took a lot less time than when I was trying to soak them off. Before you go ahead and cut your bottle, you're going to need to cast your bottoms as well. And we love having a bit of a cast on our bottom. And I only want to cast these halfway up in these little round molds. So I'm going to mix my resin-crete up now, ready to get that started. And remember, for every 100 grams of resin-crete you want 30 grams of water. There are a few steps you really must follow when doing these to prevent a disaster, because the first attempt I did, I had a disaster, and I'll tell you a bit about that in a second. So what I'm going to do first is mix up my resin-crete and get that poured into my little coaster molds before I do anything else. And I've got 300 grams here of resin-crete, so I will need 90 grams of water. Now that will make a very weak solution, but that is absolutely fine because we want it to be quite weak to start with. I know I've said this many times before. It's like a, I don't know, thicker milk once it's mixed up. So give it a really good mix. Make sure you've got no lumps or bits stuck to the bottom. Now I'm going to add a little bit of this bronze acrylic paint. It's going to just colour it a little bit. I don't want it to over colour it. I just want to have a two-tone effect when I'm finished. So I'm putting in 2 dobs of that in there. Very precise and extremely well calculated, as you can see. And now what I'm going to do is make sure I give that a really good mix in there. Yeah, that's nicely mixed up now. And pour that into there. Actually, I think I've probably made enough to make 3. So what I'm going to do is pour another one as a spare, because I will continue to make those, and then I've already got a base made. And before I do anything else to these, I need to let these completely dry and cure. Give them a bit of a shake, get rid of any bubbles that are coming up to the top. That'll burst any of these little bubbles that have sat there, this long neck lighter. You don't want to use a torch on this, remember, because this is a silicone mould. And then that can be curing while I cut the bottle and get everything else ready for the next stage. And with this bottle cutter kit, which is really cheap, I've had so much fun out of this. It couldn't be easier to cut your bottle. You put your bottle on there and then you hold it and you go round and you score the bottle, keeping it in the same position. You only need to go round once. There you go. You can hear it scoring. Can you hear that? That sounds differently. Then you've got a score going all the way around your bottle. Try not to knock it over. Then it comes with the bands as well. And you put one of the bands on each side of your score line, like that. And now this is the step where you know it's going to go lovely. And for this next stage, you want to make sure you've got a lovely jug of cold water ready and at hand, and a kettle full of hot water. And what you do is you pour your hot water going all the way around your score line that you've just made, making sure you heat that all the way up. And then you go over that score line with your cold water. And you can see it start to open up already. And then to get it to pop apart, all I did is pour another little bit of hot water over it. And look at that. You have got a perfect edge. Now, this could be a little bit sharp, and we don't want it to be sharp. We are only going to be using the tops of the bottles today instead of the bottoms, and I will turn that into a drinking glass. I found the next stage, which is to smooth all these edges off, is so much easier done using my Dremel with a sanding disc on it. You can do it by hand if you want to, and that works really well with some wet and dry paper, but this is so much quicker. But always wear a mask whenever you're sanding any glass down, because the last thing you want to do is inhale glass dust.
So all I do is go around the edges like this, and then round the inside edge, and then round the outside edge. Then back over the top, and that now is lovely and smooth all the way around there. And it's not going to cut you, it'll be sharp.
Now, before I go ahead and finish off my bottles, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I need to finish off these bases. Now, I did try a different method with these bases, which I thought would work. So the top of the bottle slots into its pre-made hole. But what I forgot was that when resin cures, it actually contracts and also it heats up, and as a result it broke the bottle. So this method of pushing it into the wet resin letting it cure to give yourself that little ring to then put your bottle in didn't work. Disaster. But I like to share my disasters with you as much as I like to share what goes right. So what I've done is I've got these smaller coaster molds and I'm going to put them into each one of these and then fill it up with a resin-crete, and they're big enough for these bottles to slot into, and actually I think they might look better. So I've got my resin-crete mixed up and all I'm doing is popping it on here. Now I haven't added any colour to this one because I want to have it as a natural resin-crete colour. Do you think I put a bit too much in that one by any chance? I'm not 100% sure, but I think I might have done. Let's try and take some of that out. Right, so I need to centralise that as best as possible, and then I'm going to put a weight on that. Oh, I am making a mess. There we go. And I'll try and do the next two that are nowhere near as messy. Let's try. I'll put a bit in this time. Put my middle in. Actually, if you push it down in the middle, it creates a vacuum and it's not moving anyway. Don't think that's very central, but there we go. And then the last one. We'll let them cure up, and then once they've cured up, then we can use them. And now I want to move on to just putting a bit of decoration onto the bottles. To decorate the bottles, what I'm going to do is give them some engraving. Now, I love this Armour Etch engraving paste. I did a comparison of this against the Dremel, and I think this came out nicer. All I do is I pop this on and then leave it on there for 4 minutes, and it'll engrave really smoothly and lovely and cleanly wherever it touches the glass. I've cut these little stencils out saying sunshine and summer on my Cricut, and these work really, really well. I've used the Tech Wrap vinyl because I've found that is without a doubt the best vinyl. It weeds so much easier, it's a better price, it sticks really well, and you can do a lot more detail in it. I'll link it in the description below if you want to get hold of it. All you need to do is paint a liberal amount on here, making sure you only get it where you want it to engrave, and then time it and leave it for 4 minutes. Wash it off with some soapy water and that neutralizes it, and you'll be really surprised at how wonderful this looks. Now, before I wash this off with warm soapy water, what I do is I go around and I scrape back in any of the excess that's sitting on the top, because it will rework again, no problem, and it saves a fortune doing it like this. There we go, that's one. I'll pop that into some warm soapy water and I'll do the same again. I've had this bottle for a long, long time of Armour Etch, several years, and I've never had any problem with it. And now that's in there, I just give it a quick wipe over, and this is warm soapy water, like that. Take the vinyl off. I don't need to be there anymore. Because it's been in warm soapy water, that will peel off really, really easily, as you can see. And then if we dry that, you will see how wonderful that has etched the word summer in there, and that is permanent. That is never going to go anywhere because that is actually engraved directly into the glass. So it's not like left a little film over it like some of them do. This does actually engrave the glass. And that one says sunshine. And these should be cured enough now to be able to take the middles out. Obviously, I did a little bit of an overpour on there. And when we take these out, we can break off any of this extra thing. And because we've done them the thickness of a coaster, then what you're going to get is, it's got a nice weight to it. And I did the two-tone, which I'm really pleased how it came out. a little coin appeared. And at the moment, this is still, even though it feels hard and strong, it will get harder and stronger over the next few days. So at this stage, if you want to use a knife just to trim up any excess bits like this, then you can, and it'll trim up really easily. So I'm going to go around there, take that edge off as well where I had the overpour, scraping my knife round it, You don't have to do this bit if you don't want to. Now you can paint this. It paints lovely. It's entirely up to you how you want to finish it. I like this white finish on it. And now these bottles fit in there perfectly and they're not going to move anywhere, which is what I was trying to achieve the first time. And now we can use them for tea lights. And because they've got a little funnel on the top here, then they are going to keep a light. You could have several of these put around your garden and the wind isn't going to blow them out, because they're protected from the wind. The glass is heat proof as well, because it has to be. It's a wine bottle. And you can use them as little lights. And that's how pretty they look when they're all lit up and in the dark. I think they've come out really, really pretty. They're easy to change the candle to when you want to change the candle. So really easy to make, cost virtually nothing to make, just for the resin crate and obviously when you've drunk the wine as well. I'll link everything that I've used today underneath so you can get hold of it without any problem. Now, if you don't want to use real candles, then of course you can always do exactly the same with the battery operated candles as well, and they work really well in there too. Oh, I love it. I think it's a great upcycle, really useful, and can make a garden or a party or anything a little bit more fun. You could put other designs on there. You don't have to put summer and things, whatever you want, smiley faces or people's names or anything. But that like button if you've enjoyed this video. Really helps me to get my videos out there and to know what sort of things you like. Hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, enjoy your crafting, bye.